Alright, so today we're going to break down the 5 basic types of CARS questions you'll encounter on the MCAT. Understanding these question types will help you develop targeted strategies to tackle each one effectively. Let's dive right in. 1. Main idea questions. Main idea questions test whether you've grasped the central theme or overarching claim of the passage. Essentially, they're asking you to identify the author's primary message, which ties all the evidence, warrants, counter-arguments, and examples together. Common question prompts for main idea questions might look like: the passage as a whole suggests that the author believes that. Which of the following would be the best title for the passage? The author's main purpose in the passage is to. When approaching these questions, try to avoid getting bogged down by specific details. Instead, think about what the passage as a whole is trying to convey. What point is the author trying to make? If you can distill the passage down to a single sentence that captures the main argument, you're on the right track. 2. Author's tone questions. These questions go beyond just understanding the argument. They ask you to interpret the author's attitude or perspective towards the subject matter. Is the tone positive, neutral, or negative? Is it supportive or critical? The nuances in tone can be subtle, and these questions are designed to test your ability to detect these subtleties. Look out for prompts like: the author's attitude toward the subject is one of. Which of the following characterizes the author's likely intended audience? The tone of the passage might best be described as. To answer these questions, pay close attention to the language and word choice. Is the author using emotionally charged words? Are they using neutral, factual language? Also, consider whether the author is presenting arguments objectively or with bias. 3. Thematic extension questions. Thematic extension questions take the author's argument and ask you to apply it to a different scenario or derive a broader principle. These questions can be challenging because they require you to step beyond the passage while still keeping the author's main points in mind. These prompts may look like: how would the author of the passage respond to? Which of the following would the author probably recommend in a situation where? It can be inferred from the passage that. For these questions, consider the underlying logic or principle driving the author's argument. What would they likely say about a related topic? This type of question often tests your ability to generalize the argument and apply it to new situations. 4. Specific inference questions. Specific inference questions focus on a particular section or line in the passage and ask you to read between the lines. The goal is to understand the deeper meaning or implications behind the author's words. You might see prompts like: the author uses the term in line to mean. Lines imply that the author brings up the example of in order to. When answering these questions, go back to the passage and read the relevant section carefully. Look for clues that suggest why the author chose a particular word or example. What is the underlying meaning or intention behind the phrasing? 5. Facts and information questions. These questions test your ability to recall specific details from the passage. While it may seem like a simple retrieval of facts, the challenge lies in understanding how the information fits into the broader context of the argument. Typical prompts include: the author states that, according to the passage, who was the first person to ever? Which of the following does the author claim? The key to answering these questions is to stay organized as you read. As you go through the passage, try to keep a mental map of where certain facts and concepts are introduced. When you need to locate specific information, you won't waste time on a fishing expedition. How to apply these strategies. Now that we've broken down the types of CARS questions, it's important to understand how to apply this knowledge during practice. As you go through practice passages, start classifying the questions based on these categories. Pay attention to which types you struggle with the most. Do you often miss tone questions? Are you having trouble with specific inferences? Identifying your weaknesses will help you focus your study sessions. Practical tips for each type. For main idea questions, don't get lost in the details. Always think about the passage as a whole. Summarize the main point in one sentence before looking at the answer choices. For tone questions, pay attention to the language used. Emotional language often indicates a strong stance, while neutral language suggests a more objective approach. Consider whether the passage has any bias or if the author appears to advocate for a specific point of view. For thematic extension questions, think beyond the passage. How would the author's argument apply to a different yet related situation? Focus on the principles or reasoning used in the passage and try to extend them to the new scenario. For specific inference questions, go back to the passage and carefully read the lines in question. Look for context clues and implied meanings. Think about what the author is trying to communicate subtly, not just what's directly stated. For facts and information questions, keep track of key details and where they are located as you read. Avoid spending too much time looking for specific details unless you're confident about where to find them. Practice makes perfect. As you prepare for the Cars section, remember that practice is key. Download the King of the Curve app or visit kingofthecurve.org for over 200 free Cars passages to get you started. Use these practice opportunities to refine your strategies for each question type. The more you familiarize yourself with these categories and develop a systematic approach to answering them, the more you'll improve your overall Cars performance. Incorporating these tips into your practice routine will not only help you get a better handle on different Cars question types, but also build the mental discipline required for the MCAT. You'll be better equipped to approach the section with confidence and efficiency. So, get started and let's boost those scores together. Download the King of the Curve app or visit kingofthecurve.org for more resources.